Yawn, Dante, any idea where that leftover cake from yesterday went? It's gone. You don't get it anymore. No idea. I mean, why would I know? I can't even eat. That sounds suspicious. Darn, did Don Kyo already get her paws on him? Rhodia rubbed her tired eyes, muttering something about how we would have partied in her room instead, and stumbled to the back door. The New Year's came swiftly to the inhabitants of the bus after the various incidents at the LCE. The sinners all came from different backgrounds and parts of the city, but annual celebration for New Year's seemed to be a thread that connected their cultures together. They began flooding the idea of a New Year's party. Excellent. Oh my gosh, why can't I speak? Excellent. Then permit me to the honor of hosting this banquet. With her usual overdramatic boast, coupled with the familiar twinkle in her eyes, Don Quixote declared that there would indeed be a New Year's party, and thus it was decided. Again, after all the hell we've been through with the back door and whatnot for the out-of-season Christmas celebration. Ahem, yet I must insist, for 'twas but an effort to decorate the bus, the intent quite divorced from the act of celebration. Don Quixote glanced at Sinclair sheepishly, scratching the back of her head. Huh? Oh, don't worry about me, really, haha. Well, 'tis true that mine actions hath brought thee quite the distress, unintentionally, I might add. Thus I ask thee, wouldst thou not agree that the communal event to mark the occasion might freshen both our spirits and bodies? I can't even begin to imagine her amnesiac self even taking a moment to give a damn about how Sinclair might take it. I guess with memory came tact. You know, it's our first New Year's together. It sure is an occasion for a celebration, huh? Gotta hear that bell go ding to really mark the transition to the new year, right? Ah, it seems that we shall be welcoming the first light of the new year in company of one another. This is indeed a cause for celebration. A bowl of noodles before the last night of the year fades. Classic. Such bubbling enthusiasm from ye warmeth mine own heart. Forsooth, the grandiosity of the Spanglish shall be one for the books. Fireworks most brilliant. Enough delicacies too. Karen, when's our next stop? Mephi will be running non-stop for 3 days at least. Only dum-dums stop on a fast road. So she says. Vergilius muttered with his usual sardonic edge, one fist under his chin. Aye, for next year's celebration, the banquet shall be prepared ere the promised hour. Oh, the immediate turnaround, no. Don Quixote's idea of a grand banquet depressively fizzled into nothingness, but Rhodia brought out the cakes and cookies she stashed into her room so we could at least hold a small celebration for the new year together. After that, we all stayed up together, watched the New Year's first sunrise briefly paint the city in gold, then retired to sleep. When everyone awoke, rubbing their tired eyes, the world outside the bus had completely transformed. There was a behemoth of a structure, bizarre in its presence, and its walls seemingly made of gargantuan steel plates. H-Corp? The sinners began to voice their surprise, appropriately so, as to what came into view was different from any of the nests we passed by on our journey thus far. Is that massive structure all one building? If that whole thing's a nest, then where the hell's the back streets? That's big enough to cover H-Corp's territory and then some. Well, there he goes again, asking dumb questions without even ever taking a peep at the guidebook. That's not the nest. That huge box you see over there, that's District 8. We call it Hongyeon, the vast garden here at H-Corp. The nest lies within the center of the structure, and then the back streets without. Ugh, so they squeeze the entire population of this district in there? Do they just not get a ray of sunlight all year round? Well, at least they won't have to worry about the rain. Aha! Prithee, avail me a sight as well. As the sinners began to gather one by one at the other side of the bus, stirred awake from their late night's rest, I felt my gaze drawn towards Honglu. I looked for signs of concern or distress on his face, worried. It wasn't something unique to Honglu, but stories about his past home life we've heard throughout the year, whenever he felt like sharing them, were all consistently and terribly depressing. It's not such a bad place once you're actually trying living here for a while. But his lips, ever so slightly curved upward into a kindly and relaxed smile, are making the same expression as ever. An expression that hasn't changed at all since our first meeting. Maybe it's just a cultural difference, kind of like how Honglu can be so nonchalant about things like that should give most people pause, but actually no, I'm not helping anyone or anything by entertaining these thoughts. My job at this moment is to keep a close eye on Honglu, more so than usual. And if the time comes for me to help him as the manager, I will give it my all. Besides, whoa, this thing, oh my, come on. Just don't press the button. Whoa, this thing's even bigger up close. Verily, I carry no recollections of a structure so grand, even in past adventures of mine. If my efforts are enough, I know I can trust the singers to lend me a hand. Hey, let me see too. I collected my thoughts and approached the sinners, who were flat pinned up against the glass window to get a good view. Once we left the bus. Oh man, can't believe we had to get off the bus here. We have to make formal complaints against H Corp for this crap. What the hell were they thinking, doing shoddy construction work at the entrance of the highway that leads straight into the nest? Oh man, Ishmael is so angry. Many causes there may be to such construction projects, yet perhaps an early warning sign ere our approach to the site would have been a sensible Is he saying okay? Were it not for young Karen's most valiant driving, I shudder to even imagine the terrible possibilities. Would have been a most awful end to an adventure. Why are they letting like the freaking basic toddler child thing drive a bus? It's no surprise that the sinners all had a piece of their mind to speak. As we drove up to the entryway, we unexpectedly came across a mess of badly put together steel plates blocking our path in the middle of the road. Karen quickly spun the bus around, which meant that everyone ended up being thrown like rags. Have you considered seatbelts? Good thing there was another road off the highway that leads into the city, right? I bet Karen would have tried to reverse gear all the way back to the last interchange. But looks like we'll be going through all these winding alleyways to get to the nest. It's so dark in here. We were greeted by a dark street upon disembarking from the bus, illuminated only by faint strands of light. It was immediately obvious that we found ourselves in the back streets of H Corp. It looked pretty impressive from the outside, but it's no different from the other back streets inside, eh? Yep, it's a familiar sight. Gotta say, it's getting real old. I ask thee, is the nest of this district shrouded in such darkness as well? No, these particular sites are limited to the back streets of District 8. The back streets of this district weren't very different from the other ones we've visited in the past. People are hurrying through the streets as though they were being chased by something, people scowling and glaring at the ground with some sickness or discomfort seems all too common in every corner of the city. There's one thing about this place that stood out from the other districts, however. They're kind of reminding me of the former G Corps soldiers back at District 4. What do you mean? You mean those fellas? The growths on their flesh appeared too organic to be prosthetics. Some of them had odd protrusions or nodules bulging from their skin as well. Not at all, Manager Bud. Look, they haven't all been mutated in the same pattern, like into an insectoid form, for example. Well, I guess I should commend you for not looking at them through biased lenses. You are observing the aftermath of District 8's distinctive method of treatment. Oh, so this is where the rumors about the bluish healing ointment came from, huh? Apparently they can cure any flesh wound after just one night dressed in bandages. It seems that certain misconceptions must be addressed. They are variations of H Corp singularity, the bolus. The bolus? She is likely referring to medicines brewed and needed the ball-shaped pills. Correct. H Corp, or the Hongyuan Bioengineering Group, mainly manufactures the boluses that contain essences of treatments. The boluses may be taken orally, ground with water into a paste, and applied directly to the affected area, or dissolved in water, soaked into bandages, and wrapped around the necessary area for treatment. I guess rumors transform as they travel. Oh, I see. I was just thinking about. I see. I was thinking about how they do things back at the K Corp. The focus of K Corp's technology is the reversal or recovery of one's conditions. Returning to the original state is the key word in their treatment. It is no rare sight to find unique techniques and technology developed independently by the inhabitants of the back streets of District 8 using the manufactured boluses. The treatments are not individually customized for each patient. Instead, their focus is on selecting the appropriate technique from a myriad of choices to address deficiencies in their statuses. Perhaps one could choose the word transformation or evolution as a more illustrative descriptor for their method of treatment. So that's what counts as treated. The crowd Sinclair was pointed at certainly appeared unhurt, as none of them were bleeding or walking with a limp, but many of them appeared dazed, staring blankly at nothing, or scratching absent-mindedly at their mutated parts. Ah, they must be the regulars. Unexpectedly, we found our answer, not from Faust, not from Ursal, but from Hong Lu. The regulars? Yes, I've heard of them as a child, people who have grown too accustomed to visiting the clinics in the search of their mystical treatments. The regulars might appear more intimidating than most people at first glance, but apparently all the side effects they've been stacking changes them in strange ways. It is highly likely that the interoperation conflicts or issues arise when applying highly disparate treatment methods into a single body. At least it's At least it's a cheaper alternative for people who didn't sign up for the life insurance. You speak of life insurance? Yes, life insurance. There's a special insurance option to bring the client back to life upon the event of their death. So the irony isn't lost on me, but I thought resurrecting people was one of the head's taboos. The head does not consider the revival via life insurance to be a violation of their non-resurrection taboo. It is likely that on a technical level, this revival is actually categorized as brain resuscitation as opposed to a full resurrection. Degradation of its functions considered, of course. Another fatal downside to this technology is that, unlike the manager's clock winding, the subject cannot be brought back if their brain is destroyed. Also, there is a risk of significant losses in the process of information transfer. Losses, huh? So maybe some of their mutations can be more than just the side effects of these treatments. Maybe. I heard it takes more than 1 or 2 revivals to change that much. And since apparently people in the back streets could never even dream of paying consistent insurance renewal rates, so after all, who would sign up for insurance if using its services could reduce them to such pitiful states? Yeah, they appear pathetic and pitiful to you rich bastards, don't they? You'll soon be in the same boat as them, so save some pity for yourself. Identify yourself. That the stranger's voice cut through our discussion like a foreign instrument. We turned around to find a large group of people who were clearly up to no good. You must be the young master of that high and mighty Gia family, eh? I can tell just by looking at your pretty face. Your friends, Honglu? No. I haven't had much chance to get acquainted with people from the back streets, so nope, I've never met them before. Of course you haven't. Too busy living large, playing gods in a whole different world from us plebs, huh? Not that it matters. We're just here to take the thing you brought here for submission to the family hierarchy evaluation. The what evaluation? Okay, there's clearly been a misunderstanding. There's quite a lot of them. Not off to a great start here, huh, man? Actually, no. It'd be a violation of our office's core values to jump them like we're some common thugs. I, Shansan, third son of the Triax office, challenged Gia Bayou of the Gia family to a duel. Our wager will be that the winner can take anything they want from the loser. Wait, what do you mean a duel? My immediate thought was this stupid Yu-Gi-Oh thing. I have heard tales of duels of the honorable fixers of the Sink Association Eastern Branch announce their intent to duel by stating their affiliation and name instead of casting their gauntlets. And the pamphlet that young Ishmael and had presented before me earlier presented the truth that the Triax office is indeed an office of the East, though they are indeed of lesser quality. 'Tis a true, genuine, accurate declaration of a duel that we behold. Sigh. So it's just a fancy way of saying 1v1 me, let's go, isn't it? I mean, this guy doesn't look too tough. What do you think, Faust? Agreed, this individual does not seem to possess any particularly exceptional skills that may pose difficulties for Honglu. I think it's gonna be okay. I'll be back in a minute, Dante. You sure this is okay? I don't think you're going to lose against him, but, you know, just in case? No worries. I have some childhood experience with duels myself. I've done about 10 of them, I think. Ha, so the rich boy's dabbled in some duels, has he? I think you misunderstand. I meant to say I've done about 10 of them a day, but grandmother sometimes let me skip them, so it might have been slightly fewer than that on some days. What? I, Honglu of Limbus Company, no. I, Bayou of the Gia family, accept this duel. Honglu stepped forward confidently as the opponent was processing what he just heard. For a moment, Honglu stood there in a stance that did not express even a hint of aggression, before curiously cocking his head to the side. Sorry, are we waiting for something? Oh, so I always let the opponents get the first 2 moves in duels. Please don't hesitate. Let me, you little tisk, your cocky pride shall be your downfall. Then the man who introduced himself as Shan San leaped towards Honglu, and after about a minute... How is this happening? Was there a change in the... I feel like the art is just ever so slightly different. Just slightly. Or maybe it's the way that Honglu has been done this time around. Or the angle. It's cool though. Unlike Shan-san, who was throwing punches and swings with boiling hot passion, Honglu was effortlessly gliding between his opponent's strikes, like he was out on a picnic. As though this was but a leisurely stroll through a garden. Whenever Shan-san threw a powerful punch, Honglu redirected it to the side with ease, the fist only grazing his clothes. This is actually pretty different for Honglu. Doesn't he, like, blow up every so often? Like, just from doing stuff? Like, it was like time-killing time or something. He went to look at something and it just exploded. We were mesmerized by the feathery light movements of his hands and feet that effortlessly glided through the air, until after one blink and you'll miss it moment, we realized that Shan-san was already face down on the ground, defeated. Oh, I think he's kind of bleeding out right now. Oh, young Honglu, hast thou been concealing thy full strength in our presence? Oh no, I wouldn't say that. I always put my all into every fight. Yet to defeat this foe so soundly, to dance with such grace between his strikes, was as though thou wert dueling someone whose skill may only be measured against a child's. But most of our fights happen in environments with lots of variables, and we usually fight against enemies with all kinds of unexpected weapons and powers. You know what? That makes sense. You read him. Read him. Oh, I think she said you read him. Already familiar with that fool's moves? Oh yes, one of my own Biwu instructors use similar techniques as this gentleman here. Practice makes perfect, and perfection makes an expert, right? Woohoo. Right, I'm not sure if that's entirely relevant here. Well, anyways, looks to me like he soundly kicked your behind in this duel. Let us through, why don't you? And preferably not do the thing I think you're about to do. This duel wasn't overseen by a notary office anyway, and our employer's not going to let this failure slide if we just leave. Okay, don't just sit there. Move your asses and jump them. Pathetic. Get them, Ryoshu. I can kind of see how we're becoming experts at getting jumped. With the bitter cry of the defeated, his gang rushed towards us.
너희는 잘해낼 거야. 언제나 그랬듯이.
실패할 수도 있겠지. 언제나 그랬듯이.
자, 어쩌겠지. 잘 생각해보라고.
주분께서 너희에게 거는 기대가 크더군. 최선을 다해라.
주군께서는 사소한 실수로 책잡지 아니하시니 너무 긴장하지 말고 임하게.
잘근 씹어버리겠네.
이런 예상.
놀랐어? 틈틈 이제 깨우치시게. 제압 효과가 굉장히 좋았어. 기록적인 피해량인 것 같아.
불가 위야. 막아내지 마.
다들 첫
놀랐어?
여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 지금은 감회가 새로워요.
자, 어쩌겠지. 잘 생각해보라고.
이제 깨우치시게.
이런 예상 못했나봐.
헷! 완전히 녹아내는데?
좀 제압 개체에게 맞는 정상적.
이제야 회사가 정상으로 돌아갔네. 이번 제압은 끝이야.
너희들도 고생 많았어.
This really isn't a great start, fellas. It's never easy, is it? Hey, at least we got a nice warm-up. It wasn't all that. I don't know, this seems more serious than our usual street brawls. Ishmael's right. They weren't your everyday thugs who pick fights with random people for no good reason. They were contracted by someone to specifically target and eliminate Honglu. And given how open they were about their intent, calling it a contract, it doesn't seem like whoever gave the contract was exactly going for subtlety. Then maybe this is what Jia Hishun was talking about way back when she mentioned surviving as heirs. Whoever's behind this must have a bone to pick with Honglu. Indeed, it seems that we must expect more skirmishes like this going forward. Alas, this trial not readily overcome? Not the point. Think on it a little. Seems like they're assuming that Honglu's brought something here in order to participate in that family hierarchy evaluation. Then there's no reason to assume that we've seen the last of them. They are going to try again, take out the competition. A highly accurate assessment of the situation by the executive manager. I expected no less from someone with your genes. Otis, please calm down with the bootlicking. Going for the classic of brown nosing today, Otis. Since when was it brown nosing to compliment a job well done? Do you not expect this inane conversation is most riveting, but I would prefer some silence while we wait. It seems that the company foresaw such difficulties. They've sent you a support team to help handle this issue. We heard voices coming from behind us, from where Regilius pointed. My, you guys still haven't learned how to stick to the plan, have you? It really threw me off when I was told to meet you at some back streets location away from our agreed rendezvous point. A familiar voice, a voice we could not forget. It's Sod! Been a while, everyone. Hi, I'm here too. Oh no. Pilot, you're doomed. What? We turned around to follow where the voice was coming from and recognized the two people we've been hoping to see again.
오늘 부끄럽지 않았습니다. 의의를 바로 세우는 데 일조하였으니 내일은 더 떳떳이 살아갈 수 있겠군요.
Sod? And hey, Pilot, right, what's wrong? It's like you're all looking at a ghost. Pilot didn't... you tell me that you shared my news with them the last time? I did. I did, ma'am. Oh, yeah, you did. The sinners each recovered from the initial shock of seeing them again, and soon their faces began to bloom with relieved smiles. Well, good to see that things haven't changed much around here. Sod, we're so glad to see that you're okay. Tick-tock to you, too. Good to see your gears are turning just fine. Sod smiled with a familiar grin. What? With a familiar grin. She did not seem to have changed much since the last we met, save for a few minor differences. Her outfit and badge, for example. Last I recall, you were promoted, yes? Allow me to congratulate you. Yeah, haha. Or the hints of melancholy hanging from her smile, flickering in her eyes. Hey, I am merely congratulating her on her promotion, offering a recognition of her excellent accomplishments. I don't see what your problem here is here. But we all know the meaning that promotion carries. Indeed, it is very profound. After all, what meaning is there to a promotion attained without spilling some blood? You're a real piece of work. Let me ask you something then. If everyone behaves like you do around her, tiptoeing around the facts, keeping it hush-hush about what happened, where is she going to get the bare minimum of the recognition and consolation she deserves? Hush-hush would have been nice. I've even overheard some of them whisper that I let my partner die just so I could snag a promotion. So in that regard, I appreciate that, Otis. If we're being technical here, I did die, except my brain was intact. Not even K-Corp's regenerative ampules could have revived me if it wasn't. Then did Effie also? Apparently they went right for Effie's head when they stabbed him with a prosthetic. According to the coroner's autopsy, K-Corp ampules, life insurance, neither of them can revive somebody with a damaged brain. It is what it is. Anyways, let's not dwell on the depressing stuff. We're here for work. Let's get some work done. So let's talk about work, okay? Pilot? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I thought he said very well. Well, let's see here. Coincidentally, I happened to make friends with a feller who has ties to the Gia family, so I brought him over. Hey, is that everything? Yes, sir, briefing over. Just as everyone was reeling in stunned silence as the least informative, least helpful briefing we ever had the displeasure of sitting through. Ishmael was the first to catch herself. She looked up at Sod. Sod, can we rely on you for some elaboration here? The briefing was a good demonstration of the necessity of educating the 5 W's 1H principle. Haha, looks like we have a lot to discuss once we get back, Pilot. You gotta break your... did I do something wrong? Pilot, buddy, just stop. You're digging yourself a deeper hole with every word. Gregor quickly leaned in to warn Pilot, but it was likely too late. A nigh unnoticeable crease had already formed between Sod's brows. Prior to commencing this high-priority operation, it was necessary for us to find individuals with connections to H-Corp. So we, as the preliminary observation unit, were put to the task, and we managed to establish a connection with an individual. Oh, someone from my family? No, we tried, but your family proved to be a rather difficult nut to crack. However, as we were wasting our precious time with all of our leads, Pilot pursued an unconventional method to establish this connection. I really didn't hold back on compliments then, and this is how you... Our collaboration is a former employee of the Gia family. After leaving the family, he now runs a lodging business. Then it is likely that he is far removed from the family's politics. Less motivation for him to attack us due to conflicting interests. Yes, and according to Pilot's report, he still regards the Gia family positively. How can I not, considering the blessings they have given me? An unfamiliar voice butted into the conversation as though to continue Sod's explanations. I humbly present myself before the Fellowship of Young Master Bayou. Please call me King Tao. He greeted us in a most polite fashion before bringing his hands together in an odd motion. Oh, is this how people greet each other here? Yep, it's called the Dao Quan gesture, bringing fist and palm together to express respect and peace towards the receiver. Aha! Nice greet one another by shaking their hands for a self-same purpose. Forsooth, thou art indeed one possessed of chivalrous spirit. Ah, indeed. Much did I worry about the qualities of people young master has surrounded himself with, but I see that he is in company of those wise and ways of the West. I prostrate myself before the vast breadth of your knowledge. What grand generosity it is to open ajar the waterways of wisdom to quench my barren flames. Was that passive aggressive? Something feels familiar about this. Nah, she's been getting less and less verbose with boot licking these days. Not like this guy for sure. That's true, he's kind of like, how should I put this? A bit much. What are you guys talking about? Communicating only by the sound of a ticking clock. Is this something I had already known ahead of time yet? What a most curious exchange to behold in person. Brief this journey may be, yet I shall find myself thoroughly entertained in its entirety. Haha. Dude, that's a look of just blatant betrayal. Maybe it's the subtle sprinkle of disrespect that reminds you of the usual flavor. Wait, is this about me? You dare? Ahem. Was all that bootlicking she did supposed to be a source of pride for her or something? Oda shook her head with clear distaste and strode towards me. We are nothing alike, executive manager. Never have I once said such empty flattery in your presence, filled with nothing but hot air and superlated superlatives. I'll leave the guidance of the back streets to him. Well, it looks like this is where... Sod fell silent, her eyes lingering on Vergilius, who stood somewhat apart from the rest of us. So I finally get to meet the Red Gaze in the flesh. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. Effie would have loved to be here. Manager. Vergilius seemed to sense her lingering gaze and walked towards us after nodding slightly in her direction. Manager Sod, let's not make this any longer than it has to be. I'm not happy to be helping you with your businesses. I'd much rather put this behind me as soon as possible. Oh, please. It's our historic first collaborative operation, isn't it? Can't you spare a little more time with us? The guide was actually doing something? That guy? Yes, unfortunately, the LCC has her own business to take care of today, so I won't be accompanying the LCB this time, and the Red Gaze will be helping us out to get it done. Taking Mephi there. Vroom vroom. Maybe it's not unfortunate now that I think about it. I feel like every mission with the LCB has always been an uphill battle to get anything done. Well, you see, back then we were... Haha, just messing with you. I'm sure we'll have another chance to work together again. Boss, we don't got much time. Wait, before you go, I think you owe us some explanation, Vergilius. I will leave the details to Miss Faust. I am quite busy. Very well. Vergilius turned around and left towards Mephistopheles with an odd, disgruntled expression. Well then, see you around. Next time I'll show y'all. I'll show you that I can carry my own weight. Sure you can, bud. You know, oh boy, the last time we met, I really was so darn pathetic. Pilot competence is shown through action, not words. Sod and Pilot gave us a light nod before following Vergilius. Some sinners opened their mouths to speak, hesitated, then closed them again. We let them go without a word. Perhaps we didn't know what we could say to not make this an awkward farewell. Very well. Please, this way. Or maybe we're simply mindful of this guy who is responsible for the quality of our stay. Deep resentment ought to be washed away, for when the far one comes betwixt the burnt door shall a star fall astray. Are you sure we're going the right way? I don't like the sound of these weird songs. The main streets are most likely teeming with those seeking to bring harm to the young master. We must venture an alternative path. Dude is super gonna betray us. And like he said, there weren't any skirmishes once we made it deeper into the dark alleyways. The lack of foot traffic would normally be pretty unsettling, but I guess that's what we needed at this moment. As for the song, it's a song that's become pretty popular in the backstreets in recent months. The lyrics are pretty ominous for a popular song. It is a song that spreads through word of mouth. It sings of how the decimated Kong family. This is not the place to discuss such matters. I will share the tale in a more appropriate setting later if we come across it. Didn't know there was a song like that. Is this the first time you've heard of it too, Honglu? He's a posh git from a posh family. I doubt he's ever set his precious feet in the back streets, so it's no wonder he's never heard anything like that. I've been to the back streets before, but Heathcliff isn't wrong. I did spend most of my time in my room. That is precisely because you were the most treasured one of them all, young master. Much like how the jade of the greatest worth is to be cherished, prized, and hidden in the deepest depths of one's coffers where none shall reach. I'm like him? Oh no, she's so offended. To a lesser degree, partially as of late. Dang. Yi Sang just spitting all the good facts. So that guy used to work for the Jia family, huh? Do you know him, Honglu? Young master, is there something on my face? Honglu stopped himself as though a thought flashed in his head, and glanced quietly in my direction. Then, it's nothing. Shall we continue walking down this road? Indeed, humble as I may be, I am very well versed in the roads of this area. Honglu shook his head at me as he casually changed the subject. It was as though he was trying to hide something we know from Qingtao. Should we be suspicious of something? He is a collaborator, but only a temporary one. A degree of caution would be advisable. Given Pilot's clear inexperience and naivety, we would do well to remain suspicious of his character. Faust and Otis approached me as Honglu was nodding along and chatting amicably with our guide. While looking back at our journey so far, I think we learned our lesson about blindly trusting every collaborator we come across. With this growing mistrust in my mind, I slowly made my distance from the guide before asking Faust the burning question. So, what was that about back there with Vergilius? Something about him going off to help them out? The consequences of his actions at Wuthering Heights. Oh, his actions were a violation of one of the more important items in his contract with the company. He is simply taking responsibility for the breach of contract. I think back to the incident at the manor. It feels like such a long time ago. I just noticed Dante in the side of that cinematic. It looks like he's staring into a camera. Hilarious. Well, that's kind of a bummer. He really helped us out in Pickle. What? That's what they dragged him away for? Is there a problem, honored guests? Aha. It's nothing. Nothing at all. No problemo. Right, Ryoshi? Did Ryoshi just smack him? Yes, you idiot. Mersal, could you carry Heath for a little bit? He's dead tired. It will be done. Heathcliff, punched in the gut by the hilt of Ryoshi's sword, fell forward right onto Mersal's welcoming shoulder. Rhodia? You know the kind of person I hate the most? The kind of dull people who can't read the room. Don't you feel the same way, Dante? Yep. I nodded enthusiastically as something seemed to imply that she wasn't really asking me a question. Where am I getting all these words that don't exist in the sentence? I don't think she was about to punch my lights out, but Rodion and Ryoshi judged correctly this time. Classified company information must not be discussed in the presence of an outsider. Reminds me of the time he got knocked out cold for a while because he kept asking questions without raising his hand. This guy just doesn't learn, huh? You successfully preserved the secrecy of classified information without spilling blood. I applaud this policy. I did good, didn't I? I'm just not a fan of how they're treating Heathcliff like dirt. Dang. If it is no problemo, as you say, then that is well indeed. Yet I worry that it appears that the problem has found us anyway. I stopped and looked around, realizing that we were surrounded by a group of people wielding various weapons in their hands. what happened to finding us a safer path. It is likely that my guidance has indeed given us a much safer path away from the more obvious skirmishes. However, to my great regret, it appears that the more observant of our enemies have tracked us here. Damn it. Then what are you even here for? Isn't it your job to prevent this exact scenario? Let's leave the finger pointing for later. We're going to have to take them all down. They must not be allowed to decimate our current disseminate. It's not decimate, it's disseminate our current location, I assume. Exactly. Where are you slinking off to, Mr. Kingtao? I must regrettably and humbly say that my talents in war are terribly lacking, so I intend to become scarce for a moment. Yet, I have the utmost faith in strengths of our young master and the honored guest in overcoming this adversity, so... King Tao was already standing so far away from the front lines that he was practically hiding behind. Faust, anything you could tell us about these enemies? No, but a consultation with, I can't... Gelshaft seems unnecessary if we are to determine whether negotiation with them is not. They're coming. Marcel, wake Heathcliff up and set him down. It will be done.
오늘도 정의로운 날이 될 수 있도록 힘내자. 다 함께 아르카나 비트.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
자, 아, 여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요. 비록 함께 전장에 나서는 건 아니지만 저희를 이끌어주는 건 단테님만 할 수 있는 일이에요. 이번에도 분명 원하시는 길로 저희를 잘 이끌어주시겠죠?
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
틈나군요. 차포자리라. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 좋고.
다들 평소보다 의욕적이야. 이런 분위기는 흔치 않아서 설레이네.
쓸데없이 흥분한 걸 수도 있지. 뭐 나쁜 건 아니기도 하고.
잘근 씹어버리겠네.
해냈구나. 나라도 그랬을 거야.
좀 치셨네.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
이거 멋졌어. 너희들의 사랑의 힘이, 빛의 힘이 저 어둡고 아르카나를
깔끔하게 다들
기울였어.
첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다
승리도
정말
시간 문제겠지?
강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 지금은 감회가 새로워요.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
완전히 녹아내렸네. 완전히 녹아내렸네.
제압 개체에게 맞는 정상적인 공격이야. 잘했어.
점출할게요.
티페리트. 당연한 걸 한 것 가지고 칭찬할 필요 없어.
이제 깨우치시게. 이제 깨우치시게.
악당 퇴치 성공.
Hostiles in the immediate vicinity have been eliminated. Our collaborator, who had been hiding far from the battle, quickly ran up to our side as soon as the fight ended. Are you unhurt, young master? Yep, I'm totally fine. Of course, our honored guest's martial skills were all exceptionally brilliant, but young master, your light was the brightest, even among the incandescent. This humble servant could not hold back his tears at this wondrous sight. To witness such excellent martial arts from none other than the young master himself. What an unexpected surprise. And Otis is just in the background doing some self-reflection. But don't the children of the Gia family undergo all kinds of strict training regime. Oh, I thought I said regiments from childhood. It was simply my assumption that the young master had ceased his trainings once he departed the family. Anyways, how do you think they tracked us down anyway? About that. It appears that we weren't exactly tracked down. Perhaps it may have been that the ilk who lurk in these parts of the back streets recognized the young master's venerable countenance. I don't think my face is that well. The family hierarchy evaluations are nigh. Every soul living in Hongyeong must know the face of the young master who is loved by every elder of the family. It must be that they are under the assumption that you are carrying something of great value. Family hierarchy, huh? Didn't Jia Shishu say something about heirs back then? I guess they all assumed wrong then. I didn't bring anything precious that the elders might be looking for. Young master, even now? I just couldn't care less about it, that's all. Besides, many of my siblings are much better fit to be the family hierarch than I. That's... well, that is indeed a relief. A relief, is it? Well, but of course, it is highly dangerous endeavor to partake in the hierarch evaluations, so it is of great relief to know that young master is not putting himself in unnecessary danger. I guess that could be a relief, sort of. Phew, now that we took them all down, there shouldn't be any more on the way, right? Greg, can we not jinx ourselves for 1 second? Heh. Oh no, Ryoshu noticed somebody. Why are you laughing, Ryoshu? Now I'm worried. Please do not concern yourselves any further. We will take a more clandestine path. I guarantee a safe and easy passage to our destination. I still have a hard time buying that. The lay of this place would constitute a perfect place to set up an ambush in most places, yet you claim this to be the safer path. Yet I must ask you to place your faith in this humble servant, for Hongyeong is not like most places. Fine, for now. Otis shut her eyes for a moment, out of retorts, then turned to look at Ishmael. Hey Ishmael, you must have a pamphlet of this place handy, don't you? No way, you're actually going to read it? Why else would I have? No, I mean, how could I not be caught off guard after almost a whole year of being brushed off by everyone every time I plead with them to read the damn pamphlet? Like hell, did no one think to... I will find my own intel if you're just going to ramble on and on with your grievances. Okay, fine, here it is. Otis opened the pamphlet and began intently glaring at its texts, as though she didn't want to miss even the smallest detail of information. The suspicion clear on her knitted brows. We are on a desperate run. All the fighting off hordes upon hordes of enemies. Boy, what happened to safe and easy passage? Explain this shit. It appears that the young master's radiant countenance was made known. I thought we were finding more clandestine passage. How come we're getting jumped by even more enemies? As I've said, the young master's radiant... At least try to give a little variation to your excuses. I cannot so easily say that he's being untruthful, given the disjointed allegiance of enemies attacking. Otis played with the pamphlet in her hand, clearly frustrated, but unable to establish anything concrete. For people without a clear allegiance to attack a member of the Gia family, looks like everyone in the back streets have been getting pretty plucky while I was away. Back then, I couldn't even catch a glimpse of their faces. They'd all be on their hands and knees whenever we walked past. Ah, what a wonderful change. Oh, shove that wonderful change up your arse, you bloody loon. How much longer till we get there? My Kes hand is here. Calm your worries. Our guide seems oddly calmer now that he did at the beginning of this journey. Did he really get numb to all the violence that fast, or... Speaking of which, what's a Keshsand? It's a term commonly used to refer to taverns, inns, or equivalent places of lodging in this region. Lodging, huh? Like a hotel? Hoo-hoo, it's gotta be pretty fancy then, huh? Do they serve, like, complimentary snacks and drinks like at the warp train? Not sure about that, but it seems like oh my gosh, I'm just gonna give that one. Also serve alcohol and food alongside their lodging services. Maybe we can get a meal in there. And, phew, Hopefully we won't be attacked there like this. Residential non-aggression taboo. Any mutual acts of violence inside a residential building is, within this particular area and flora of Hongyuan, a taboo. A taboo. We may rest easy within. I saw Faust's eyebrows slightly twitch, as though she had just heard the most ridiculous thing. But I guess I'll ask her about it later. Phew, man, if it's for some kind of family hierarch or family head selection contest, why couldn't they save all this fighting until then? Because it would be too late. Late how? Every hierarch candidate must have brought incredibly precious treasures with them. It would be nice if they believed that their own treasure is the most precious of them all, but everyone's going to try to take each other's, just to be sure. I see, just in case someone else brought something even better than their own. And might as well kill them too for the sake of convenience. Is that how the folks in your family think? What kind of line of thinking is that? But other families didn't seem too different from mine. Boo-hoo. Damn. Deepest apologies for intruding upon this most enthralling conversation. However, we may be inviting even further trouble by dallying here. With that, the guide pulled out a watch to check the time. It will be nighttime soon.
레이저. 아니야. 마이너 아르카나 정도겠지? 조심해. 마이너라고 해도 생각보다 강할 수 있으니까. 내가 응원해줄게.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리. 틈새는 바로 이제 깨우치시게.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아하는 지금은 감회가 새로워요. 저희에게도 이런 힘을 베풀어 주시다니 마음씨가 넓은 분이실까요? 아, 적출할게요. 실수로 주셨더라도 상관없어요. 한번 보시면 낙장 불입이랍니다.
너희들의 사랑의 힘이 빛의 힘이 더 어둡고 악한 아르카나들을 뒤흔들었어. 이러면 승리도 시간 문제겠지?
놀랐어?
있잖아. 사실 마법 소녀들은 항상 인력난에 시달리거든. 너희만 괜찮다면 혹시 우리를 도와서
씹어버리겠네.
아니야. 그건 선택의 시간이 필요하니까. 내가 정말 순 없겠네. 아쉽다.
다시 복구하긴 힘들걸요. 아, 여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요.
분명하네. 압도적인 사랑의 힘으로 아르카나들은 전부 정화될 거야. 역시 내가 엄청 도움이
이거는 충분해. 너한텐 멀겠지만.
검을 휘두를 줄 아는 자는 많다. 그 검에 길이 있는지가 중요하지.
마음에 들면 들었다. 솔직히 말해라. 차포잡이라. 예상한 것보다 움직임이 더 좋구나.
다시 복구하긴 힘들걸요? 기쁨이란 건 이런 사소한 일에도 슬며시 따라오나 봐요.
이제 깨우치시게.
모두가 노력한 덕분에
악당
업무가
패치
일찍 끝날 것
성공!
같은
오늘도
지금처럼
정말
말이에요.
멋진 활약이었어. 내일도 꼭 불러주기야. 세상이 평화로워지는 건 기쁜.
Now, here we are. Is this the place? After running through alleyway after alleyway, after turning corner after corner, we finally came across the site of several small buildings tightly built next to one another. At the center of them was a building lit with red lamps, adorned with a door plate with complicated-looking letters scribbled over it. This is shoddier than I expected. Hey, isn't this place a little too trashy to house your precious young master? That is not our building. Please look this way to see where our honored guests will be staying for the night. I knew it. I heard so much from Honglu about all the splendor, all the... Huh? We followed King Tao's finger and arrived at a small warehouse of sorts, its exterior painted in black. That looks smaller than even Mephistopheles. Can we even all fit in there? Hey, that place looks trashy as heck, even for us, let alone your young master. This is the nearest we could afford to stay in, at least among the ones that I manage. Yet its location in the back streets heavily limits the level of decency it can afford. My deepest and sincere apologies, young master. Don't worry, we can't always sleep in decent places. It looks just fine for an overnight stay to me. Are you nuts? Can that thing even fit all of us in there? Much did I wish to guide the honored guests to the family mansion in the central zone. However, the time? Oh, the sweeping wave. Doesn't that start at 3:13 in the morning? I feel like we've got plenty of time to get there. Exactly. Don't we have more than enough time to get to the family mansion? According to H Corp Travel Guide, the central area is only like an hour away from here. Has the honored guest traveled to District 8 before? Well, no, this is my first time here, but... Then one must ask how the honored guest could claim to have full understanding of a place merely by flipping through a book, when she hasn't had to contend with it in person. Innumerable, unpredictable changes await in this teeming jungle of building. The ever-shifting structures, the constantly changing paths, ambushes from foolish yet vicious syndicates, or even offices of the backstreets. Oh, we are beset by danger from all sides. Such bold, flippant approach to predicting the phenomena of this place is to court death. Even a toddler must know that. One fails to disguise his utter sorrow at the inadequacy of her wisdom. Is it just me, or are we all thinking back to Ishmael back at the Great Lake? Zip it, Dante. But if the guidebook lists a path, does it not imply that it's technically possible to reach there in time? Otis suddenly took a step forward. In her hand was the H-Corp travel pamphlet that Ishmael was talking about. I have faith that if our executive manager would lead us in your directionally challenged stead, they would be able to lead us to our destination before night falls. Me? This does not appear to have been discussed beforehand. Very well. Allow me to speak freely without frills. My responsibility is to bring the honored guests to the central zone and ensure the young master's safety. It is indeed technically possible to reach the family's mansion before the night in the back streets commences, technically. Yet not even one iota of danger to the young master shall be permitted. The mission that has been so graciously bestowed upon this humble servant is not to guide the young master with haste, but to guide him with the utmost safety. Oh, it is said that those engaging in strategies and plans must remain wary of losing sight of their purpose, to stubbornly forge towards the family mansion in lieu of necessary intel. See when these mobs of assailants would end is to wrongly prioritize the journey over the destination. You. Wonderful, truly impressive. You have all the qualities of somebody I would trust with my life when devising a stratagem. This is the most fitting attitude for those who genuinely wish the best for those they serve. Really? You're just gonna start going along with him all of a sudden? He's gonna try to play him, I think. I have misunderstood your intentions, truly. They sparked my ire by comparing some of your choice words to my very own. Yet now my eyes have been opened to the honest loyalty that lies within your heart. This humble servant did not imagine, even in his wildest dreams, that there would be someone who understands the fathoms of his loyalty. It seems that young master has certainly gained an eye for allies and fellowships. This is a cause for much relief in my heart. Ha ha ha! Listen to him, this one knows how to jest. Is she gonna try out like him? They're basically best buds now, huh? Ahem. I may have lost my cool for a moment there. Anyway, if this man speaks true, it is highly likely that we'd be exposed to attacks of similar nature were we to continue moving at this time. She's just fully on his side now, isn't she? That's when I realized that she was looking in my direction. The exaggerated smile had all but faded completely from her face, replaced with an odd but dead serious expression. When our gazes locked, she nodded. She must be completely turned around by that guy. Is this her way of saying so long? I'm gonna quit and go work with this guy now. Thanks for everything. Dante, dude, how did you get this? Like, I know you're an amnesiac, but bro, seriously? And as for this hotel, it is still much better than sleeping in an outdoor tent, Eric. We should be able to relieve ourselves of some fatigue here before moving on. Did you not earlier insist on continuing our search for a better accommodation with the greatest vehemence, Miss Otis? Every time one of these really intelligent characters open their mouth, I realize how much vocabulary I'm missing. Yeah, whatever. We get to your point. Let's go inside. You, my humblest self, can only behold your generous acceptance of this insufficient lodging with the deepest gratitude. After all that serious talk, the man seemed oddly relieved to hear our decision as he brought his fist and palm together. Architecture of today mustn't be judged with such haste, merely by an observation of their exterior. The interior may hold aught to be surprised of. Worry not. With Rodion surrendered, wouldn't that be nice? We made our way into the building. Oh, this actually ain't so bad. It's clean in here. That's shady as all heck. This place presents a rather classical aesthetic. The landscape paintings lining the walls give off a rather sophisticated mood. And it's much more spacious inside than it looks from the outside. Did they use some kind of space expansion technology in here too? No, it seems like the building only appeared small due to the density of structures in its proximity. Well, the door is now open. Should my presence be required, I shall be in the small shed next to this building. Please, do converse freely. The man smiled awkwardly and quietly excused himself as the excitement among the seniors began to grow. Meanwhile, Hong Lu stood a fair distance from the guide, quietly watching his face as he left. His expression was enigmatic, as if he were gazing upon the clouds, the flowers, or even the wind. Yet there was no light in those eyes. It was as if they beheld a storm cloud, a desolate field of wilted flowers, and a howling, destructive gale. Do you suspect something, Honglu? So I decided to ask. Not yet, I don't think. Huh? Not yet? So, big brother, something felt off to you too, huh? That's when we caught a familiar voice. Wow, Shishun, it's you, and so soon too. Yeah, I told you I had a feeling we'd be seeing each other again very soon. Have you been well, young master? I'm so glad to see you're doing well, Mr. Wei. Oh wait, don't tell me you're staying here too, Shishun. I normally wouldn't ever set foot in a place like this, but I ran into some kind of large-scale construction on my way back to the family mansion and had to come in through the back streets. So we weren't the only ones troubled by that random construction site. Hail to thee! Yeah! The confident look on Shishun's face was immediately replaced by that of alarm. Did she lose her memories again? Is she with you? No, Don Quixote is the same as always. Ahem. Ahem. But she looks like such an airhead. Young Shishun, well, wouldst thou accompany me to the lounge but a moment, so that we may share a moment of catching up? Oh yeah, actually let's do that. Hold on. Jia Shishun seemed to hesitate for a moment, staring at Don Quixote after hearing her memories were intact, before walking right up to her. Like that idea? I like that idea, shall we? Wait, why don't you go find a room for me to stay in while I talk some things out with her? What, you wanted to do some catching up, right? 'Tis, a manager esquire. Loss of critical personnel may be cause for disciplinary action, Dante. I don't think there's anything wrong with making friends, though. It looks like Shishun really likes Don Quixote if she's comfortable enough to tease her like that. It's not Don Quixote she likes. She obviously just wants Don Quixote's power she saw back then. My lady, this is hardly the appropriate place to... Fine, I'll try again later. Go get some sleep. I'm heading in too. Shishun sighed with a bit of disappointment before heading into the lobby. Well, let's all head inside for now. and so I and the rest of the sinners followed her into the lodging. Everyone was busy looking around and commenting on the various things in our lodging, but Sinclair appeared to be the most anxious of them all. Sinclair? Something in here stands out. Like, imagine an ideal picture. Did you call? Oh, I missed the joke you sang. That's not what I was. I'm not arrogant anyway. Am I the only feels like there's something that stands out like a sore thumb from the whole picture? Oh yeah, glad you brought it up. I didn't say anything because I thought it was just me. Rhodia, what's so off about this place? Isn't it obvious? Where'd all the complimentary snacks go? What's that weird mystery table at the center of this room? Huh? That is kinda weird though. What's that table doing there? Its saturated colors are quite the pleasant sight to behold. So is it any better? What the hell is that hideous table? Oh my gosh. Their kerfuffles, sparked by the particularly unsightly piece of indoor furniture, calmed somewhat once everyone made it inside the building. Of course, no one was able to discern the real purpose of that table yet. Every step on the floor leaves black residue on the shoes. Not only the floor, touching the walls leaves an unidentified black substance on one's fingers. Not to mention how the walls ripple in an odd fashion. What could possibly be the construction of this structure? Well, my guess is that the maintenance staff have been slacking, or it's just not real. Maybe, but why is everything so neatly organized if that's the case? I've been to enough seedy establishments to tell when a place has gone a while without tidying up. At least it appears that each room is furnished with a bed. While this is far from optimal, Executive Manager, we may be able to rest here. I guess they really don't have time to clean up. Shishin, the last person to walk in after having taken her time to examine the area outside the lobby, stared blankly around the room with an aghast expression. I'm not even sure what to say to this ridiculous negligence. Then found her room after leaving a scathing remark. Sigh, it ain't the first time we're sauntering right into some shady business, innit? Let's just cross that bridge when we come to it, yeah? I guess anyone could tell that there was something definitely wrong about that guy. Some sinners, including Heathcliff, had already slumped to the floor. Oh my god. Vociferously expressing their desire to rest with a collective sigh of exhaustion. Well, it is pretty weird, but at least we have a roof over our heads. In that case, Dante, perhaps this may be a good time to announce today's close of business. I've never made this announcement outside the bus before. Oh, right. I hereby confirm today's close of business for the sinners. Understood. Thank you kindly. Starting now, you will all be given a maximum of 12 hours to partake in sleep and rest. The duration is subject to change. Have a good night. As soon as she finished, the sinners began to relax in their own ways, some stumbling into their rooms while others lingered to speculate over the bizarre table in the center of the room. Save for Otis, that is. Got something to say, Otis? Yes, Executive Manager. It's about our guide, King Tao. Oh, your new best friend from earlier. Seems like you guys were getting along pretty well. What? That is simply untrue. Did you not see the signal I gave you earlier? What signal? Oh, you mean when you nodded slightly in my direction? Indeed, that individual has an informational advantage over us when it comes to this locale. Regardless of how sound the accusations we came up with were, he would have been able to explain them away using his familiarity with the region. I thought as the party with an informational disadvantage, it would be wise to feign camaraderie and friendship with that individual and go along with their plans, while trying to dig out as much intel as possible. I seriously thought that suspicious guy totally won you over. Executive Manager, I've been in this business for many years. How could you even imagine that I would be fooled by an amateur spy who's so overly suspicious? It's nothing. Otis's disappointment was palpable, but she stopped herself as though she remembered that there were more important matters at hand. While it is uncertain as to how long that individual will be accompanying us, it would be reasonable to speculate that he approached the LCCB with the explicit purpose of eliminating Honglu via Bayou. I present the fact that it was Pilot, that inexperienced greenhorn, who somehow conveniently came across this conjecture as another evidence of supporting his suspicion. That's also true. Faust also has information to share. Faust joined the conversation after listening to us discuss for some time. A review of every known taboo has failed to identify the one he called residential non-aggression taboo that universally prohibits acts of violence within residential areas. Then that also has to be. It is too early to come to conclusions regarding that matter. It appears that this area, Hongyeon, has taboos that change depending on your location within its territory. However, considering every other circumstantial evidence, we cannot come to a conclusion that he was most likely lying to us. Your assessment cannot be denied. In that case, we must already be deep within the enemy's machinations. The constant stream of random assailants we faced earlier was also most likely also part of their plan. It may very well be that this building itself is a trap, yet we lack the intelligence about this particular back streets to be certain. However, we do have one minor advantage. It seems that they have severely underestimated our capabilities, given the low caliber of the assailants they decided to send after us. One thing we can capitalize on is the mutual lack of intel. Keep our guard up, remain alert, and we should be able to navigate our way out of this trap. Executive Manager. Okay, I get it now. I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Honestly, I didn't know who or what to trust. Then I would appreciate it if you could trust me fully next time. Otis bowed politely and returned to her room. Faust and I chatted a little bit more about King Tao and his plans, but our discussion ended without bearing much fruit. I realized that Honglu was missing as I was spending time chatting with the sinners. I didn't notice him going into his room. So I walked to exit, about to look for Honglu outside, and ran into Jie Shishun and Wei, who decided to stay in the room close to the door. It's getting late. Where are you going alone without a guard? Oh, just looking for Honglu. Right. I can't understand what you're saying. Alright. When it comes to conversing without the sinners, I find that there are two types of people. The first type usually says whatever is on their mind without pausing for or caring to hear my reply. Given that this type of person isn't actually looking to communicate with me, that simplifies things a little on my end. However, it is oddly insulting as well. It seems as though they don't recognize me as a human, but rather a wall or a clock on a wall. And the other type is the one that reads me so well that they might as well be able to hear what I'm saying. Vergilius falls into the latter category. He recognizes the pitch of my tics and talks, reads my body language, or sometimes even claims to see my expression, like how Don Quixote does. And Jie Shishun, who saw me through the short exchange. Okay, let's see, just looking to get some early morning air. Oh, does your prosthetic head even have a respiratory function? Wouldn't have guessed it from the way it looks. Did not belong in either category. No, not really. I'm just looking for Honglu because I haven't seen him in a while. You're shaking your head, so no. Then are you looking for something to eat? She's a new one, the type that tries to figure out what I'm saying without asking for help. My lady, would it not be wise to wake or find somebody who may be able to translate? They would have done that themselves if it were something important. I'm kind of curious though. What was the hand gesture you made when you first asked? You brought your index finger up to your cheeks? Well, Honglu's always smiling, so thought maybe I could simulate his smile to convey that I'm looking for him. Perhaps it was an effort to express cuteness or beauty? What? No, I was trying to express a smiling face. Oh no, this isn't gonna be easy, is it? They're tick-tocking a lot more vigorously. Hey, I think you're onto something. This conversation was starting to veer into a completely unintended territory. After a bit of trial and error. I see, you're looking for my big brother, huh? We took some very roundabout ways, but I was eventually able to get her to understand what I was trying to say. Well, if he's who you're looking for, that's easy. You should be able to find him by the lounge back there. I doubt he got very far from there, even if he even left. So that's what you were trying so hard to communicate? Jie Shishun was strangely enough disappointed and dispirited by my reply. I did have something to tell you too, but never mind. I feel like the mood's been ruined. Let's talk about this at another time. I was curious, but also take ages for me to ask how she's feeling, so I nodded to express my gratitude before heading back to the back entrance. I found Honglu gazing at the hazy scene out the opaque window. What are you doing here? People watching. There were some people stumbling through the streets outside. As I stared outside the window at the scene, Honglu seemed to sense what I was thinking and began. Are you worried for me, Dante? Well, yeah, it's your turn, Honglu. Is it? It really is. I'm back at H Corp, and everyone's talking about the family hierarch selection. But you don't have to worry about me at all, because I do not wish for anything from Limbus Company. Really? I'm not like you saying, I'm not hiding my true feelings. No one gave me a wonderful promise like they would help me recover my torn and broken wings. I joined only to have some new experience, that's all. But we do know that something's definitely going to happen, whatever it might be. Something that will shake you to your very core, even if you don't wish for anything. Going through something like that could. Probably, yes. But it's okay. I'm used to being led by the will of others anyway. No matter what happens here, I can't do this like everyone else. Because that's how it's always been. Whatever happens to me or those around me, I only... A loud, boisterous bellow suddenly cut Honglu off, even before he could finish his sentence. Oi, let go of me. Just listen to that sod talking. And tell me I'm not supposed to get mad at that? Dang it, lower your voice. What are you guys doing back there? Gregor and Heathcliff, who were most likely hiding behind the entrance door, tumbled into view. I knew I shouldn't have come here with this guy. Couldn't you be patient for even a few minutes before bursting out of here? How long have you two been listening? From the very start, of course. I thought he was finally making some sense at first, but what's that? You're used to following others' will? Haha, I didn't mean to irk you, Heathcliff. I'm only telling the truth. Bloody hell, I'm about to burst a vessel. Boy, buggy bloke. Am I supposed to practice patience after listening to that dribble? I think I've practically plenty of patience despite you calling me buggy bloke out of nowhere. So yeah, you are. That's not what I... Finally, some silence. Anyway, sorry about listening in, fellas. I'll let you in on a big secret if you let this one slide, though. What's the secret? Gregor rubbed his arm awkwardly, and as I stared at him in silence, then pointed at the pillar in an exaggerated motion. Guess who's hiding behind that pillar, Manager Bud? Oh no, is everybody listening in? With that, two familiar figures stumbled out of view from behind the pillar. How could you betray us like that, Gregor? Dude, Ryosha and Sinclair are like a duo now. I think I like it. Bad, weak, and highly annoying. Good night, snooze fests, she says. Huh? Did I get that wrong? Or was she surprised that he got it? I never said GNS. When did you get FU? Ryosha looked at Sinclair with some interest before slicing open the ceiling above the entrance. And with an uncharacteristically wet noise for something cutting through a wall, a black ink-like substance dripped onto the floor, followed by Rhodia and Otis crashing down after it. GTFO. Oh my gosh, I keep pressing the buttons too fast. Well, I didn't realize I had garnered such an audience for my story. Executive Manager, the sole reason I followed you out here was for the purpose of protection, as I was concerned for your safety. I am not like the others who have followed you merely to sate their curiosities. This is actually really funny. Me, I was just bored. Then shall we continue the conversation, Dante? Everyone back to your rooms now. He was trying to have a private moment with Honglu to discuss something. Everybody's just spying. After that little kerfuffle, just as everyone was scattering to their rooms, Otis suddenly began to vehemently oppose leaving me all on my own. Are you absolutely certain, Executive Manager? Seriously, don't worry about it. I usually took the night watch on the bus anyway. That is true, however, we are currently in an uncharted territory for our team. We do not have much experience sleeping at a place where our safety isn't an absolute guarantee. Hey, we're literally right next to the door. It'll take less than 5 seconds for us to come over when something happens. Do you not know that every second matters in emergencies? Now, babushka, decamp. Let's get you out of here. My sister's friend has a wiener dog named that, and she's a little old lady. It's really funny. An oddly familiar sequence of events and words played out, and they eventually left my room, gently closing the door behind them. Finally, some peace and quiet. I sit on the corner of my bed, surrounded by silence, and allow my shoulders to slump for once. I don't even need to sleep like the seniors do, but my fatigue doesn't go away on its own. I need some time to relax and empty my thoughts every once in a while. While I've gotten somewhat used to the pain, it still hurts like hell when I rewind the senior's time. And the longer this journey got, the more frequent and severe the senior's injuries became. They did get stronger, that's for sure, but so did our enemies, which means that my clock is always turning and turning without a moment's rest. So I think of the star. Before the great gate which I face with every revival, I witness its intricate engravings and feel its silent vibration. Even after a whole year, I'm still no closer to understanding what they were supposed to represent, but by emptying my thoughts and just taking in the sights, I find myself calming down. Also, the wind is quite cool and crisp tonight. Wait, that's weird. Wind? What's this sudden chill? Something opened at the window, and there's no way this gentle breeze could have unlatched and left my window wide open like that. And if it did, it would have made a pretty loud noise. Besides, this chill isn't coming from in front of me. I slowly turn around at where the window was supposed to be, only to see a melted wall and an intruder slinking through this newfound opening. Who are you? As though driven by some unknown survival instinct, I rolled off the bed. But there was already a blade right where my neck and head met. Its steel is shearing cold. Just a little nudge and I'd be dead, even before I could even make a tick. I remember how worried Otis was to leave me alone. I thought she was just being paranoid. I should have trusted her judgment. Just as I was getting ready for my final struggle, my final moments filled with regret about not listening to Otis's advice. Ryoshu! What a pathetically thin blade. I'm not gonna lie, I do think Ryoshu is definitely one of my favorite characters, along with, like, Heathcliff. Too delicate to have the clock CIH, don't you think? Ryoshu leapt down from the ceiling and deflected the assailant's dagger away from him. Ryoshu! Snuck in thinking I was about to see something interesting, but you're just some beast with steel. I looked up to see the ceiling torn apart, dripping with vicious paint-like fluid, just as I saw it earlier during my conversation with Honglu. Executive Manager, are you unharmed? And Otis peeking out from the gap. I, Otis, was the one who instructed Ryoshu that the ceiling had a room to hide in. Remember that. Shut up and help me. Oh, I thought this one was just some beast with steel. I could have cut this beast in half, sword and all, had I not been on the bus. Had I not been on what? Oh! All your abilities were diminished. Oh, just read this. I suddenly recalled Hohenheim's commentary back from the LCE. I had a vague notion of what he meant, but now I was really feeling it. NFW, what is happening? Just as Ryoshu was struggling to stop that one blade, the intruder pulled out another dagger with her other arm, slashed at Ryoshu's mouth. A beast of a Heisho pack. The intruder would have cut her throat had Wei not burst through my door. Who wields you now? I do not suppose dialogue is an option. Light enters not the vast garden, yet falls a star into its fathom still. No. The intruder reached into his clothes, muttering an odd invocation. Little shit, a talisman. Wait, get it together, my lady. Just as the intruder's muttering began to grow intense, Jia Shishun leapt into my room and struck the stranger with her fan. Were you going to let that bastard finish that stupid spell? They almost activated the Q-Corp talisman. Apologies, my lady. It seems that I still remain somewhat bound by that spell. Listen, you're no longer a Heisho. You serve me now. Got that? You don't have to let those things control you anymore. Yes, my lady. My apologies. I fell limply to the bed with the sudden alleviation of stress and pressure. Hey, are you... I can't understand them anyway. I managed to stop the assassin before he laid a hand on them, fortunately. Guy, I don't think there was anyone else in here. Let's switch the lights on. When the lights came on, we saw this one. This one's from a Mao branch. There was a black bamboo hat wearing assassin on the ground. The walls that appeared solid before we all went to sleep were now melting away as if they were a vicious fluid. Oh my gosh. I know the word, but my brain isn't allowing. There's something wrong with this building. I knew that they must have done something to the building, but how is a Heisho here? This whole operation's gotta be spearheaded by somebody with real power. This isn't just an ambush from an overexcited family hierarchy contestant. What I don't understand is why the Mao branch. There are better Heisho branches to use if all they wanted to do was cut off the clock's head. Then they must have had a different purpose, huh? Correct, this one is from the Mao branch of the Heisho Pact, which means more of them must have infiltrated this building. Though not at the scale of the Z branch. The Mao branch always moves in groups. Therefore, their goal must be to kill every guest staying in this inn, including you, my lady. I'm just gonna call it an inn. I just can't pronounce it. Then Tisk, we gotta get moving. We can't let them surround us if we want even a chance of surviving this. Dante! Sinners burst into my room, slamming the door open again. Thank me later. If we don't move our asses, we're good as dead, Way. Yes, we don't have time to collect the main forces of our faction at the family mansion. You know what to do when we're at a numerical disadvantage, right? It will be done, my lady. Jia, Shishun, and Wei immediately stormed out of the room as soon as they saw the sinners enter, as though they've been waiting in here for my protection. Don Quixote and Gregor stood red-faced and on edge. Mersalt was covered in battle, and always wore an inscrutable expression. I stand before you in shame to have to borrow the hands of another to protect the executive. Tisk. No, I should have listened to what you said. Extrapolating from the pattern by which the walls have disintegrated, it is likely they utilize the identical means of infiltration for each sinner. Oh right, were you attacked by the bamboo-hatted assailants too? Their ranks numbered many, Master Squire, yet for how many there were, they were unsettlingly silent. Verily, we were almost... not almost. I saw on the way here that some of us did get killed, impaled straight through the guts. So what he said about fighting indoors was a taboo? Yes, a lie. Get him, Don Quixote. How utterly cowardly, too unjust of these vile curs to strike from the shadows. Alas, now is not the moment to ruminate upon their villainy. He was correct. Besides, there's more of them waiting to sink their blades into us.
저분은 어디 아프신 걸까요? 아까랑 다르게 기운이 없어 보여요.
떨거지는 잘라낸다.
꿰뚫려라.
해냈구나. 나라도 그랬을 거야.
저희를 헤아릴 수 없다면 그 용도를 고민하는 것이 상책이지.
대가리 딱 떼고. 타! 으타! 더 먹어치워라.
저기요! 움직임이 멈췄는데 괜찮으신가요? 단테님, 아무래도 의식을 잃으신 것 같아요.
적군의 함정인가?
하늘이 무너졌고
내가 아니, 아직 수는 남았다.
상층보다도 구제불능이네. 좀 더 신경 썼더라면 이런 일은 벌어지지 않았을 거야.
이런 장면을 볼 때마다 너무 안타까워.
자, 어느 쪽일지 잘 생각해보라고.
저 유쾌한 결투였네.
정신 안 차릴 거야? 직원이 거의 반죽음 상태가 됐다고.
큰 사태로 번지기 전에 얼른 수습하는 게 좋겠어.
그렇네요. 분노라는 건 이런 감정이었죠. 마음 깊은 곳에서 타올라 불길처럼 번져나가는. 아직 드러내는 건 서툴지만 놓아버려선 안 되겠죠? 언젠가 맞서야 할 때 물러서지 않겠네요.
이건 예상 못했나봐.
지금이다. 해골바가지 거미 대가리.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도 지금은 감회가 새로워요.
대가리 딱 떼도. 저 시시게.
제압이 잘 진행되고 있어. 이대로면 큰 손실이 일어나기 전에 모든 게 안정화될 거야.
걱정할 필요가 없는 건 좋네. 잘했어.
꿰뚫려라.
제압 대체에게 맞는 정상적인 공격이야. 잘했어.
디페리트. 당연한 걸 한 것 가지고 굳이 칭찬할 필요 없어.
내 죄는 내가 알아서 처리.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
악당 패치 성공!
It did not
오늘도
have good
정말 멋진 활약이었어.
synergizing ideas for this
내일도
fight.
꼭
This was
불러주기야.
bad.
기적 차려졌지 않나.
그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데.
역시 이 정도쯤이야. 이런 악당들은 쉽게 물리칠 수 있다고.
대가리 딱 떼도.
전열이 무너졌군. 자, 어느 쪽일지 잘. 꿰뚫려라.
제압 대체에게 맞는 정상적인 공격이야. 잘했어.
디페리트. 당연한 걸 한 것 가지고 굳이 칭찬할 필요 없어.
완벽한 거리.
이건 치명상이에요. 전투가 끝난 뒤 시계를 돌려주시지 않으면 치료가 어렵겠어요.
수치가
이럴 줄 알았어. 내가 한눈 판 사이에 게으름이라도 피운 거지?
곧 세 번째 경보가 울릴지도 모르겠어. 돌이키긴 어렵겠네.
널 믿은 내가 멍청한 거지.
티페르티의 말은 신경 쓰지 마. 지하로 도망쳐. 응, 그래야 해.
괜찮아? 아르카나를 처리하지 못한 나는 쓸모없는 존재야. 아니, 어쩌면 내가 선택받...
곧 감미로운 트럼펫 경보와 비명 소리가 들릴 거야. 잘나신 관리자 놈이 수습하겠다고 또 난리를 맡겨두시게! 언제나 준비되어 있다. 자,
투입이군.
나를
어디서? 뱀 기어가는 소리들 어디서? 뱀 기어가는 소리 들리지?
나를
투입이군.
자,
사랑과 정의 이름으로 지금 이곳에
저분은 어디 아프신 걸까요? 아까랑 다르게 기운이 없어 보여요.
된다면 사월을 건너. 육청.
제압 개체에게 맞는 정상적인 공격이야. 잘했어.
티페리트. 당연한 걸 한 것 가지고 굳이 칭찬할 필요 없어.
대가리 딱 떼고
이런 예상 못했나 봐.
괜찮아? 방금 공간이 뒤흔들리고
살을 베어내고
그 공격을 얻었구나. 아니야. 다시 힘내서 가보자.
된다면 사월을 건너. 그쪽 방향이 아닐 텐데. 이건 예상 못했나 봐.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다
살을
정말
베어내고
강해지셨네요. 매일 보아하는데도 지금은 감회가 새로워요.
된다면 사월을 건너.
기분.
분명하네. 압도적인 사랑의 힘으로 아르카나들은 전부 정화될 거야. 역시 내가 엄청 도움이 됐지?
된다면 사월을 건너. 이건 예상 못했나 봐.
커라.
제압 효과가 굉장히 좋았어. 기록적인 피해량인 것 같다.
대가리 딱 떼도 실밥이 터졌나? 지원을 갖지.
이제야
And all
회사가
it
정상으로
took was borrowing
돌아갔네.
somebody else's
이번
Marcel.
제압은 끝이야.
너희들도 고생 많았어. 티페리트, 너도.
I think we're safe for now. Something tells me that they're not fighting us at full force. At least we routed them, so hopefully that means something. Oh, where'd Don Quixote go? Hark, for I am here. Don Quixote rushed into my room from the hallway outside. I had gone to espy if the other sinners had suffered as we have. Verily, they were indeed targeted as well. Most defended themselves well against the curs and shall be here post-haste, yet not everyone survived, huh? Young Sinclair and Yi sang, while it appeareth that they had risen and battled, they were caught unawares by our foes. 'Tis likely that their demise came soon after tripping over each other's foot. How embarrassing. And young Heathcliff, isn't that fella our resident mob fire expert? How'd they even get him? They didn't get me, mate. I'm good as new. Heathcliff? What's got you so gobsmacked, lass? I recall a blade piercing young Heathcliff in the back of his head. Didst thou turn the clock for him already, man? Squire. No, not yet, anyway. Blimey, so that's what this funny itch on the back of my... Heathcliff reached up to rub the back of his head, then crumpled to the floor mid-sentence. Okay, that's actually pretty funny. Heathcliff's not breathing anymore. He's dead. How did he even manage to walk all the way over here with a hole in his head? Young Heathcliff! The other sinners are starting to gather. As pathetic as this force may be, we cannot spare any hands at the moment, Executive Manager. We must also join the others as soon as possible and assist them. There are sounds of altercations coming from the lobby. Gotcha. The clock turns as it always does. Sometime later. Whoa, please hold on. You. I can still see some people inside the lobby, which is also in a bizarre process of melting away. Phew. Among them, I noticed Jia Shishin clashing against a figure wearing a bamboo hat. Going on the offensive already, huh? How come a big shot in control of a Heisho pack decided to come after small fries like us? Behind the black bamboo hat wearing assassin stood. I see that you have tracked me down, so certain of your own safety, but my master has already prepared countermeasures. There stood King Tao, our supposed collaborator, who led us here, and Wei, who was threatening him with a sword. So you were behind us. Ah, it's you. I sussed out that you'd be planning something like this, but you lacked the patience to pull it off. You're quite observant. I thought I had completely won you over. You must know that at H-Corp there is but one path to survival of riches. Choose a family hierarch candidate and serve them with utter loyalty. But who in their right mind would serve young Master Baiyu? He has grown up with no hardship. He doesn't possess even a single speck of ambition. You shut your bloody mouth, yeah? And you, rich boy, oi, are you going to sit there and let that bloke talk shit to your face? But he's right that I don't have any ambitions. Have you got no self-respect? What do you have anyway? Okay, everyone shut up for a second. He's obviously taunting you. Stop indulging him. Wait, speak. I know that you have no means to wield a Heisho pad. So speak, which master did you choose to serve? Who controls them? Ah, so they are curious. Stay your sword, Zilu. Another unfamiliar voice from the shadows. Young master, are you certain this is wise? Worry not. They're destined to be swept away by the morning dew anyway. The trajectory of their fate shall not alter course, were they to witness me. The voice soon reveals himself from the shadows, walking into the light with a casual, assured gait. Huh, seriously? You? I see you're... Allow me to grace your ignoramuses with my exalted name. I'm Yuhia of the Shi family. You may know me as a very prominent candidate to the throne of the family hierarchy.